Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to Excel 8. We're going to be doing some statistical functions. Many of these you probably have not worked with before. When you hear the word statistics, I don't know what you think of, but I think of mean, median, mode, standard deviation, histogram, different things like that. So let's go ahead and do this. The first thing we'll do is the authors ask us to enter a conditional function in cell I5 to calculate average satisfaction for support staff. And when you hear the word average, it ought to take you to the average function, and we'll do average if function in just a minute. Format the results with blah blah blah, and again, I'm not going to format the results for each of these, so you need to be able to do that. So inserting functions, average if, and we'll be using average if and average if s this time, and some other areas. So the range that we are going to use is C4 to C53. So you can type that in, or you can do what I do and take the lazy way out. And the criteria that we're supposed to use is H5, and the reason why we use H5 is that, let's get up here where you can look at it. The reason why we use that right there is that we're looking for the average of the support staff. So our criteria is H5, and then we have to use an average range. So, and you can look over here and see the support staff, and again, please check this out carefully. And then the range that we will use for the average range, of course, would be E4 to E53. So the E4 to E53. So we will do that over here, and we look at all this and then click OK, and we get a number. Does that make it right? No. What you're going to need to do, though, because the author is going to ask us in a minute to use the fill handle and drag down, you're going to need to select which one of these you want to be absolute and which one of these you want to be relative as you drag this down for each of these right now. So I'll let you struggle over that. If you just drag it down now, you're going to get some errors in here, so please take a look at that. The next thing we're going to do is look at the average if salary, and the average if over here, use the same as you did over here, except do it over here. And I'm not going to cover that again, but I would like you to know that you can follow that along. Then you'll be required to use the fill handle, and then you have some other areas that you have to do for functions. So the next thing we'll do is I16 and I17. We have to adapt the process using the previous two steps to calculate the total number of average number of managers that have a job satisfaction of 4 or higher. So what the author is asking you to do is make a count in here, and so the count that we will make will be count FS, and so the count right here, again, you can find the function, and I'd like you to know the difference between the count FS and the count if, because you'll be using both of these. This counts the number of cells within a range that meet the given condition. Now what does that mean? It means you select a range, you put the condition that you want, and it will count that number right here. And the difference between that is it counts the number of cells specified by a given set of conditions or criteria. So you're going to put more in here than just one condition, one criteria. If you remember back last case, or even I think it was last case, that we used the AND function. This is very similar. You'll also be doing the average if and average if s on here to do the same thing. I didn't explain that before, but we will do that. So go ahead and follow the arguments. I'm not going to do this one for you. You know where to go. Here's the count, and go ahead and use that right there for these. And we will again, and I say this every time, and we're almost done with Excel, but my goal is not to show you everything, then you take a similar case and do exactly what I did. I don't think you learn much by doing that. My goal is to give you tips and show you kind of where some of this stuff is. and you're going to make mistakes. And what I'd like you to do is, again, try to solve your own, and then if you can't, you have the book to help you, and the other cases. And then if that doesn't help, then you're going to be able to contact me and work with me on this. And that's my job, and I enjoy my job, so please let me know what I can do. The next thing that we will do is we're going to move over to the salary rank and use something. Again, this is probably a new activity for you that you haven't seen before. It's a rank and an average, and so let's insert the function and let's type in rank. And if you see, you have multiple ranks on here. You have rank, rank EQ, rank average, and this time we're going to use the rank average. Now, why do we do that? Because the author says enter a function in cell F4 that calculates the rank of the salary in D4 against the range of salaries in the data set. So what you're doing is using the average to calculate this right here. So the difference between the rank is, and you can see how much it's changed. We used to do this by hand, and so this is really kind of cool that you don't have to do a lot of computations to do this. So the rank on here is the numbers in a list. It's size relative to value that you give it, your criteria. Then the other is the rank of a number in a list of numbers. Its relative size to other values in the list. And then the average is exactly that. So we have the number that we're looking for, and the number would, of course, would be D4. And the reference that you're going to be using is, of course, D4 to D53. And again, I do want to show you this. Now, the order itself doesn't need to be filled out. If you wanted that submitted, then you would have to put anything besides a 1. You could support it by that number, sort it by that number. Right now, we can see it's going to be 27. And again, when you do these functions, if you do something wrong, such as D54, and you do this, then you don't get a mistake. But if you did something like E4 to D54, then if you clicked OK right now, you would get a mistake, even though it shows this right now. So let's go back to many of these. You do get an error when you do this, and then we'll click OK, and we get a 27. Author's going to ask you to drag this down. You need to decide over here what needs to be absolute, what needs to be relative. Again, if you drag it down the way it is, you're going to make mistakes. So moving on, we're going to go over to cell I-20 now and look at some quartile. This is not a statistics class, and I don't want to spend a long time, but quartile, Q, core, meaning a fourth, or a fourth of something, or the first fourth. You have first, second, third, and fourth quartiles where this is broken down. And we'll look at this to see on how this computes out when we enter this. So the function is in cell I-20 right here. I believe we're in I-20. Yeah. The instructions say enter a function in cell I-20 to calculate the minimum quartile function in the list of salaries. So insert function, and again we go over to quartile, and in this case it will be, there's multiple quartiles. So welcome to the world of quartile. First is just it's available for compatibility. Returns the quartile of a data set. This is kind of cool. If we had time, I would go through and take some other ranges in here and form quartiles on this right here. Then you have a quartile inc, and it looks at a data set and based on some percentages. Then you have quartile exc, and it's an exclusive, and then you have an aggregate function. And again, this is cool. So the one we're going to use in here will be the quartile inc, and so we'll click OK. The array that we'll use, of course, is the D4 to D53. And can you just type that out? Absolutely. Again, get away from the keyboard. And the quartile that it's asking for right now will be H20, and this will be on this. And you get a number right here. Author's going to ask you to drag it down. Make sure that you correct this with functions of absolute and relative. If you drag it down the way it is, you're going to make mistakes. So we're going to move over to H27 now and take a look at this. This is a correlation function. Now, a correlation function is kind of cool because it is going to give us an opportunity to correlate something in here. We're going to correlate the salary versus the job satisfaction. Now, what does that mean? You probably know what the word correlate means, and it means when something is related to something else. For instance, if you correlate smoking cigarettes and lung disease, as people smoke cigarettes, the ones that smoke cigarettes, the lung disease goes up. So they're correlated. That's what that means. So we're going to do that on this right here, and so the author has asked us to correlate this, and again we have a function for this, and it is going to be, and I think it's CORE can get us there, probably not, and let's see, it probably will be CORREL then, will get us, yeah, there it is. Okay. So this begins the coefficient to data sets. The closer you get to 1, the more that it correlates. The closer you get to 0, the less that it correlates. So let's see if they correlate in here. Now, you can, something else that you don't have to do, I've showed you how to drag this down over here and put the function here. You can also do the entire column of D and E because there's nothing else beneath that. So we can do D to D, and we can do E to E on here, and we have a correlation of 0.2, which means that this is minor or minimally correlated between these two right now. So what it's saying is that as job satisfaction increases, the salary goes up. No, not necessarily so. Or you can correlate it the other way and say that people that make more money are happier. And that's not always the case. So that's a correlation. I hope you understand that. The next thing that we're going to do is we're getting into some of my favorite stuff now. You're going to go to the Data tab, and we are going to look at data analysis. Now, if you don't have data analysis, go over to File, go to Options, go down to Add-ins, go to Analysis Tool Pack, and click on this, and then you would do this, and you would click on Analysis Tool Pack. You don't need Visual Basic, nor do you need Euro currency tools. You already have Solver, so just click the other one on here and click OK, which mine already is on here, so you have data analysis. So now what we're going to do, the authors asked us to click the Data tab, and we did, and he said click the Data Analysis tab, and we did, and we are going to select Data Analysis. And let's see if we can find this. And we selected data analysis, and we're going to do descriptive statistics right here, and we click OK. And so we will be looking for our input range, and the author says complete the input criteria using the salary data in column D. So the input range will be the column D, and you could do D to D, or you could also do this. I'm old school, and I typically do this, but you could also do D to D on here. Then the author asked us to, we did this, and then we set the output function to display on a new worksheet. So the output function will be a new worksheet, and we're going to click OK, and we didn't do something right. Let's see. Complete the input range by using the salary data in column D. And then the output range will be in a new worksheet. Okay. And then we did not output summary statistics, and that's where we messed up. I could have gotten a new workbook. Okay, so we click OK, and there we are. There are my statistics. Now, these are called descriptive statistics. We're not going to spend any time with these, but you can go through and look and see, and this will help you with if you were doing statistical work. And then he says give the a sheet a name. What it doesn't say in the instructions is to go back to employee satisfaction, but you need to go back to employee satisfaction and do this. And the last thing we're going to do is called a histogram. And this is also kind of cool. He says select the data tab and select data analysis. And this time we do a histogram. We click OK. And the input range will be, let's see, use the salaries and column D as the input range. And this is selected for me. And he said use the quartiles in this as a output range. And you can see that this is. And then he says do the data in cell H29, and that would be H29 is the output range. Yours won't have anything up here now. You're going to have to type these in, or you're going to have to select the ranges when you do these. And we did not put a data point on here. Let's see what I messed up on. Okay, input range is, input range is, I clicked something a while ago. That's what happened. All right, I was clicking stuff, and that's what messed you up. So the salary, I believe, is what we need to have over here. And then we have an output range, and we have H37. Looks good, looks good, looks good. And this is not correct. So let's go back to data analysis and do the histogram again. And let's see, we use the salaries in column D as the input range. That's good. And we use the bin range I-20 to I-24. I know why. Because we didn't finish all this. We didn't finish all this over here. That's why. You have to finish all of this in order for this to do. That's our bin range. Otherwise, yours will be a little longer than this. It'll be down to about here when you finish up. So that's what I have for you. There's a lot of new information on here. Take your time. Follow it completely. Implicitly, and if you have any questions about anything, then please contact me. Good day.